This week's edition of NJBIA's Minding Your Business is brought to you in part by AT&T, helping family, friends, and neighbors connect in meaningful ways every day. PPAC Gladstone Bank, known nationally and in New Jersey for providing unparalleled client service, integrity, and trust for over 100 years. New Jersey's community colleges, aligning education to build an innovative workforce. Find out how your business can benefit at njpathways.org. And by New Jersey Business Magazine, providing critical information needs for New Jersey's business community for more than 66 years.
Welcome to NJBIA's Minding Your Business. I'm Bob Considine. Well, NJBIA's Year of the Business Owner campaign continued recently with NJBIA President and CEO Michele Siekerka taking a tour of small businesses in the beautiful town of Westfield, guided by Gene Jannotti of the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce. We visited many thriving and unique businesses in town and then held a roundtable discussion with other regional business owners to hear their stories, struggles, and successes. So join us now as we take you on a Main Street Stroll in Westfield, New Jersey.
Gene, thanks so much for hosting NJBIA here in Westfield today. I'm so excited to take a stroll of the downtown.
Well, we're so happy to have you. We're going to take a chance to go visit several of our personally owned businesses, and that way you get a chance to talk to them and meet with them in person and then see our beautiful town. So thank you very much for coming. I hope that your time here will be well spent and enjoyable.
Well, let's get our boots on the ground and let's go meet those great businesses that make this great community.
Let's go do that. This is Anna, the owner of the store.
So nice to meet you. Absolutely. Beautiful. How long have you had your shop here?
22 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
How have you seen your customers kind of change over that
That's
time?
a great question because we opened specifically for kids, importing Italian shoes, and now we've grown to include women's and men's, and so our customer base has expanded to include all of that.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. So you had the moms coming in to buy stuff for the
Right.
kids, and the moms are like, "Where's mine?" Right?
Yeah, exactly that.
Oh, that's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's
And
very
she
nice.
moved from a small store and
Yes.
a block or so away, and this is one of the few businesses that's enlarged their location and gotten bigger.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. That's wonderful. That takes courage. You were
It
nervous.
was a bit of a
Yeah.
leap. Yeah. But I'm really glad that we did. This location is ideal for us.
Like, what do you think is your one most challenging thing as a local business owner?
Okay, right. Well, we have a wonderfully supportive community. We really benefit by their desire to shop local. I think one of the things that is challenging, not just in Westfield, but I think in a lot of small businesses that have products like this, is we have customers coming in to use this as a showroom. So that they come in, they utilize our products, our personnel, our patience, and desire to serve them.
Yeah.
And then we will see them literally in front of us looking online to see if they can find it somewhere. That is, I think, the biggest challenge right now because we have the product, we have wonderful customers, and then there are people that choose to take time away from us when we could be serving people that are genuinely here to shop from us. Yeah, I think otherwise we are thrilled with how business is going and how we're growing, and we're just so appreciative of this local mindset that we love our downtown and we want to see it thrive. So.
And what do you think is your best opportunity?
Oh, it's what you referred to earlier. It's getting the whole family in.
Nice.
Yes,
Nice.
It's getting the mom, it's getting the kids, then getting the dad, then getting the mother-in-law, then getting the aunt and uncle. It's really making the experience so lovely that they want to share it with the people that they care about.
That's great.
And my goal is I want them to feel so great in what they purchased that they feel better about themselves when they step out into the world. They're more confident, they feel amazing, and so that they're better people.
Oh, wonderful. Well, congratulations on your
Thank you
growth,
so much.
and keep doing what you're doing here in your
We
community.
plan on it.
It's important, and especially I love the focus on family. I think that's
Oh,
just
for sure.
fantastic.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's what we're built on.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And our
Congratulations.
customers are our
very much.
family.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Smell all the bread. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, I'm Laura. Nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. It smells so good in here.
Grazie.
Oh my
It's always
gosh.
a good
Look how
sign,
beautiful.
right? Grazie.
Oh, nice. And folks can see right into the kitchen, which is beautiful.
Yes, so this is one of the reasons why we wanted to look at the kitchen, so all of our guests could see through
Yeah.
the preparation of all of our customers.
Lovely. Lovely. How long have you been here?
Almost 5 years.
Okay.
Almost 5 years.
So you started right before COVID.
Yes, which was kind of challenging. I don't deny that, but we found ways to be creative. During that time, we came up with some boxes, lunch boxes ideas, different varieties of Tuscan specialties to go. And now, finally, we're back to our normal business.
And I'm sure that during COVID, the community wanted to support you. And so when you created that opportunity to have boxed meals, people were like,
We
I'm
were
coming out and
so
get them.
grateful
Yeah.
for the community because honestly the support that we've been receiving from Westfield was simply heartfelt. So we could still feel it. So that's the best.
I think that's fantastic.
Really rewarding.
Wonderful. Yes, workforce. We do that every day.
Yes.
Workforce is very challenging
Yes,
right now.
so we do our best to find the right people also because we're a small niche in what we do, and for us, our team is also our family, and we look for reliable people to be part of our family. So this is what we hope for the future.
Well, it's a beautiful environment, so I would imagine, even in the back, we're getting the secrets to the recipes, right? And feeling like we're putting out this beautiful food. Probably makes everybody feel really good about what you do.
We do our best. There's always room for improvements, and our community is a good way to help us do better every day.
Oh, great. Oh, well, thank you for just spending some time with us this morning. So nice to meet you. I'm Michele. Very nice to meet you, Andy. Well, sure. He's the center of it all down here. So absolutely.
work together.
So he was just telling me about your expansion. Wow.
That was a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
We did okay. We basically lifted up, put the front of the store here, and expanded the back, specifically for bridal and dealing with engagement rings and wedding bands, and booming business where you need to be.
So when did you first start here?
33 years ago.
Okay. And over that time,
You're supposed to say something at that. I paused. You're supposed to say, "You don't look that old."
Okay.
What are you supposed to say?
I think that's fantastic, though. I mean, to me, that warms my heart when I hear the businesses who are able to stay in a community for 33 years, right, and then grow.
You gotta
grow
change.
this thing.
You gotta change. You
So
gotta know what's
that's what we
going
keep
on.
saying.
You gotta see what's
Exactly.
happening.
Right. You got to stay with the times, and you have to keep addressing the next generation coming up, or what the buying habits are at a certain point in time, right? Absolutely. What's your biggest challenge as a local business owner?
I would say consistency. We're lucky we have consistency of our help, but if they move or other things come about in their families, but we're lucky to have employees here that are been with us for like 15 years and
Wonderful.
above. So
That's wonderful.
that would be the biggest challenge. Is
Mhm.
the relationships we establish with our customers, to our help, and then if they leave.
Sure.
So, but as long as
once a year,
both of
temperature
them-
is temperature we sell it once a year.
Yeah, so you gotta be a little creative. You call up your best vendors, whether it's Hearts on Fire or Marco Bichigo. I'll accept it's very elite artists. And once a year we have a party. And people come, enjoy it, and the vendors come with their whole line, and so it's a fantastic night.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it generates buzz, energy. Of course, they buy if they like
Sure.
something.
Sure.
And it works out nicely.
Well, it's a nice, unique opportunity because when you have your certain brands, right? So they're bringing in some of the unique pieces that aren't here every day, and suddenly people are like, "Oh, I got to go see what's new and different
The
here."
brands bring us customers
Yeah.
for sure, and not only from the area. For instance, I was saying before, is our bridal and our engagement rings. Like, we'll get people from an hour and a half away. I would like them to come for me, as being here 33 years, but it's really a lot of times the brands, our reputation, our reviews. So if I had to just rely on Westfield, it's difficult, but we're drawing from a bigger pool of people for that.
Good. It was so great meeting you. Good luck with everything.
We're going on 16 years,
Okay, wonderful. And when did you do the excursion?
2016.
Okay, okay. That takes a lot of courage. So what got you to make the commitment, say, yeah, we're going to do it? It's very attractive to say it's right here, right?
For a small business, I was terrified of expanding
Yeah.
because the rent went up, the expenses went up. I said, can I do it? Can I fill the room? And it was the best move I've ever done because more people came.
Yeah.
And it was still not big enough. We want to take more space.
Good for you. That's a great story. That's a great problem to have,
When it
right?
becomes available,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But,
Well, they wouldn't be coming if you didn't have something good to offer.
The only thing I want to do now is maybe get a wine license permit from Trenton.
Yeah.
To
Are you
be able-
you with BYOB now?
Yeah. We would still be a BYOB, but I'd like to get like a nice high-end cellar to be able to sell wine. They're hard to get and they're very expensive
Oh yeah.
in town. But you know, maybe a wine license will help. You know, before hopefully next expansion.
How about workforce? How are you doing on workforce? Because
Because
if you expand, you have to expand the workforce too, right?
Yes. We are lucky that we don't have a turnover here. People stay for
Wonderful.
10 years. The guys in the kitchen are here for 15 years, 16 years. No, I can't complain about workforce.
So that says
The
a lot
only-
again about the culture of the company,
Yeah.
culture of the organization, how you run it from the top.
Yes,
When you have loyalty
yes.
like that, you can go a
Yeah.
long time.
I cook every afternoon for my staff.
Oh, wonderful.
You know, lunch before dinner, and you know, I keep them happy, balanced, and try to be fair. The only issue, if I had to say something more, is like the workers have a tough time with the rents.
Yeah.
They're very high.
Oh yeah.
So they have to go to Plainfield or Elizabeth, Roselle, you know, a little further out.
New Jersey's a very expensive state to live in.
Very expensive.
What are you cooking for them today?
Probably red snapper.
Ooh. And these are the stories they don't hear in Trenton, right? We have to tell these stories. And yours is a wonderful one. So
I've always said, you take care of your employees, and your employees will take care of your customers.
exactly.
It's like, it's a simple equation.
Yes.
It's 1 + 1 = 2.
And that's why your staff stays, and that's why your customers return. You
Why
can
is
feel
it
it.
said
You can feel it. That's it. So thank you.
All right, you're watching NJBIA's Main Street Stroll of Westfield, New Jersey. When we return, NJBIA President and CEO Michele Siekerka talks to local business owners in a roundtable sit-down. Back right after this.
We are made to connect. stepping into limitless possibilities. As we create with purpose, influencing the culture as we rise. Contributing to a world of inspiration.
We are Black Future Makers.
At PPAC Private Wealth Management, we're unique from our competition in that we do not tier or differentiate our service based upon a client's assets under management. We do not rely upon call centers, 800 numbers. Our approach and solutions really focus on a comprehensive financial plan. We feel that that financial plan serves as the roadmap for myriad decisions that we make with the client with respect to all aspects of their financial health. It's a very unique one-on-one experience working with an advisory team consisting of wealth planners, wealth advisors, financial planners, portfolio managers, dedicated client service officers, as well as trust officers, lending professionals, and private bankers if the client's needs dictate.
Welcome back to NJBIA's Mind Your Business. I'm Bob Considine. We now return you to our Main Street Stroll in Westfield, New Jersey, as part of NJBIA's Year of the Business Owner campaign to hear the stories of how these small employers are keeping up in challenging times. Have a look.
You know, I said to Gene a few months ago that we were doing this Year of the Business Owner campaign in 2023 at NJBIA, and the reason why we're doing this is to personalize what it means to be a business owner or someone who runs a business so that we can tell that story when we interact with our policymakers. So this whole campaign of what we're doing is hearing and listening to all of you, right? When you wake up every day, what's the first thing on your mind? What are you losing sleep over as a business owner?
You know what the funniest thing today is, like, I'm a very positive individual, right? 99.999% of my life is extremely positivity. But this morning I woke up with a sense of doubt for a second, right? And I said to myself, what if I just don't want to do this anymore? And if I don't get up and go do it, like, I have staff, don't get me wrong, you know, give them all the resources necessary, teach them everything they need to do, but the one thing you can't do is force somebody to do it. You know?
But optimism is totally key. I always say I'm like a glass half full girl. Okay.
Yeah.
I live by that, and I also always say, given what we do in policy, which can really like beat you down. Okay. I say if I was to wake up 3 days in a row jaded, it's probably time for me to move on because I've lost my passion, right? And so I do my reality check all the time, like just what you're saying. I know what that feels like, right? And you get up and you go, all right, yeah. Because if you're not doing it, like, who's doing it? So and you take, but that's the thing about business people, right? The courage, that will, that inner will, right? And again, that's what we have to personalize. That you said it, right? We're all in. We bet it all.
I'm an optimist as well. I mean, I look at if there's a challenge, it's an opportunity, not a threat. And what's been keeping me up for the last couple of weeks is I had this conversation with my boys just a few weeks ago about them coming into the business. My youngest one is 20, the other one is 21. And you know, the probability of a business succeeding generation 2 is pretty low. But when you get to 3, it gets down to, I think it's single digits. So that keeps me up because my goal was 4 years from now, I was thinking about selling the business potentially and retiring. And now if my kids come into it, I'm back in the business. And you know, the fear of them taking it and not succeeding, you know, then it falls on my shoulders. So it's just, you know, that ownership and, you know, sense of family is a struggle. That's the one that's been keeping me up for the last 2 weeks.
So you got somebody that just got a license. I've been doing this for 20 years for $300, and they're coming out saying they're professionals and with zero education in real estate, and then, you know, handling the largest transaction in somebody's life. And as a business owner, I see the mess after facts of what people do. And the homeowners, with some of them, right, get caught with some properties that, especially in 20, 21, and 22, where the realtors are having waive appraisals, waive this, waive inspections, waive everything. Then later on, the house is falling apart completely. And lawsuits are on the rise now from that 2020 and 21 to 22. So we struggle with that in real estate on our end.
So we heard, I heard some of that this morning in a different way, but it's the same thing about educating the consumer. So how do we, there's government, there's policy, and there's all of that, right? But there's this whole thing about how do we, as people in business and industry, educate the consumer so they make the best decisions, right? And in your case, maybe a fact sheet. Here's what you should ask here's what you should ask your soon to be realtor.
Healthcare's in the same boat. Like, right, you go into a pharmacy right now and you don't know what you're going to pay. Like, most people, because they're trying to save on healthcare premiums, whether it be because they're business owners themselves or because they're the employee, their premiums to go down, they have to pay high deductible plans. So they walk in and it's like sticker shock, and the price of drugs hasn't gone down. And you have now, you hear about this craze now with all of these weight loss medications, and everybody either on TikTok or they're going to their doctor, regardless of whether they need to lose 5 pounds or 30, they want the doctor to write them those prescriptions, and those prescriptions go for about $1,000 each. So all of a sudden they come into the pharmacy and they're like, oh, but I have insurance, and I'm like, but you have a high deductible plan. So it's trying to set expectations that just because it's advertised heavily on all these social media sites, we'll work with them, we'll try to find them copay assistance coupons, all of those things, and usually we'll go that extra mile. I don't think that my competitor across the street would typically do that. It would just be like, here it is.
I really appreciate the time this morning. It's been wonderful. I say all the time, if I can't go out and have like the boots on the ground and talk to people who are literally living it every day, then we can't be a good advocate on your behalf. We just can't. And this is what we then try to take and impart back to our policymakers. So thank you for hosting. Thank you all for coming, and please reach out. And if you have more ideas on how we can cut red tape, by all means, bring it on.
You'll have the PDF tonight, right?
Thank you
very much.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you to Gene Jannotti of the Greater Westfield Chamber, Lou Kimball of the Downtown Westfield Corporation, and Westfield Mayor Shelley Brindle for joining us on our Main Street Stroll. We continue today's episode with a visit to a recent NJBIA panel discussion on stranded assets in New Jersey, moderated by New Jersey Business Magazine Vice President and Editor-in-Chief Anthony Baratieri. Have a look.
But we have the double whammy in that we have, with respect to our properties, over 50% of our properties are either government owned or is operated by religious organizations or churches. So we have a large base of properties that are not taxable. So that puts even more burden on the city with respect to what we're trying to do and the services we're trying to provide. So with respect to some of the assets we have and the fact that they're stranded, it means that we don't have the taxes to provide some of the services that we would like to provide at the levels that we'd like to provide them. We also have a situation where people will, especially if it's a residential, they'll break into those homes and use them for things that we would not want them to use it for, be it criminal base or for homelessness. And then we've had situations, as you can imagine, where someone has come in and used that property, and then maybe they're smoking a cigarette and then catches on fire. So then that puts more strain on us to have to deal with that property. We also have certain properties that are now being demolished, in part because they're not salvageable. The city has in itself about 2,000 plus properties that it owns that we're trying to figure out kind of what to do with it. Some of those properties are in redevelopment areas where we can actually have a relationship and do a deal with a potential purchaser of those properties. But other properties are outside, and those properties we can only, by statute, provide those for sale through auctions. So we have to do auctions on a fairly periodic basis. I think we're doing like once a year now to try to get some of those off. But there are a lot of things that are problematic, as you can imagine, without, number one, having so much land and so many properties that are not taxable, and then for the ones that could possibly be taxable, that they're not in use in ways where we can get revenue from them.
So I also want to give credit to our CEO, Tim Sullivan. When he joined the EDA in 2018, he saw that stranded assets was going to be a growing problem in the state. And as you pointed out, the pandemic has made it worse. We just ran a CoStar report looking at buildings that were put into service before 2013, buildings with 100,000 square feet, and buildings with half of their space or 50,000 square feet or more vacant. And the report found there are more than 100 properties throughout the state. And I'm sure that number is much higher if you consider buildings with fewer than 100,000 square feet. And buildings that may not appear on CoStar. So, our feeling is, and we'll talk about in a minute, is this is a problem that neither the private sector nor the property owner of the stranded asset, nor the municipality, county government can solve alone.
Very good. And of those properties, they're all over the state. They're in suburban settings, they're in urban settings.
Yeah,
everywhere.
and they include the range of properties that you mentioned earlier. So we're talking about office campuses, shuttered hospitals, retail malls. There's all kinds of categories when it comes to stranded assets.
Can a developer take advantage of a couple of those incentives all at once, or is it just one program?
So we allow developers to stack incentive programs. So for instance, with the Aspire program, you can couple it with, say, the Brownfield tax credit or the historic tax credit program and go up to 80% of eligible project costs.
Okay, very good.
So Anthony, I'd like to add to that.
Sure.
The city and the state have been talking quite a bit about the notion of stacking and also about understanding with respect to the different programs where we can apply a particular tool set of stacking to a particular set of buildings. So we're not going to necessarily see one size fits all in terms of the arrangement, but I think the state has been very supportive in terms of having a conversation about how we can do these things, bring in maybe county money if there's county money, city money, or support if there is, so we can say with this particular type of asset, this is what all is available to help with funding or redevelopment or whatever the case may be with respect to that property.
Okay, very good. This is for everyone, this question. How do you get everyone involved? The state, the developer, the community, the financiers? What are the challenges there in getting everyone at the same table and going in the same direction?
Well, I can start with that. I think first you want to have the right environment so people can see that everyone's going to at least listen to each other, and you have to make that very, very clear. And then you want to, from a relationship standpoint, understand what people really are trying to achieve. And not every partner is going to be a good partner, and you have to be willing to step away from that. So you have to look at it and say, are they aligned in general with what we're trying to do? And then once you figure out there's alignment, then you focus on that. There are going to be differences and there's going to be negotiation, but you want to make sure that the people you're dealing with are people that you are truly in line with in terms of what you're trying to do, both as a property, but also as a community.
Okay. Dan or Matt?
So I know at the EDA, we always attempt to widely advertise our opportunities. And the same goes with the programs that I mentioned. So please do get in touch with me if you want to learn more. We're always available to have conversations. I know in the case of the Stranded Assets Fund, we'll be having a public seminar. Property Assemblage Fund, we're going to have a brainstorming session to take ideas from the public. But yeah, we want to talk to everybody basically and find out, if and how we can work together.
I would just say that just from the redeveloper, the property owner perspective, it's the willingness to engage with the community to show how this repurposing of the land is going to benefit the community. Where you had a derelict building, now you're going to have something vibrant, show the benefits and willingness to listen to the public if they want a little park in the area or something like that. You need to be willing to have those conversations.
All right, thanks to all the participants in NJBIA's Stranded Assets panel for that great conversation. And thank you for joining us on NJBIA's Minding Your Business. We'll see you next time.